I call Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I'd just like to open by saying that I would challenge the Labor Party and the members opposite the next caller to get up and instead of what we continue to hear tonight, which is negativity, which is attack, to get up and actually articulate what the plan is, what your plan is, and the right or the Honourable Ruth Dyson just played right into the point that I was wanted to make, and that is the fact that when we come to this House, we should come here with aspiration. We should be talking with aspiration, and we should have aspiration for our country and for our nation. And the type of language that I hear throughout the night from the Labor Party, from the opposition benches, this is the type of language that I hear: tired, left behind, arrogant, failure, time and time again. That is not the language of aspiration. That is not the type of language actually that this country needs. And I want to come back to something that that my colleague, the Honourable Paul Goldsmith, and the point that he made earlier tonight. And that is the fact he said that when we went into the GFC and we went into a world recession, what we really needed was strong leadership. We needed leadership that knew what had to be done to get us through that and protect and help those that were most vulnerable. And I'm very proud of this government and what they've achieved. But to achieve stability, actually it helps if you have one leader. And I'm very proud of the fact that we've had one of the best world leaders that any country could have asked for through a global financial crisis, through a world recession. And that is the Right Honourable John Key. If we look across at Labor, if we look across at the opposition benches, look at the leadership that they've provided over the last 6 years. Let's look at the churn rate. We've had the Honourable Phil Goff gone. We then had David Shearer come in. David Shearer, who I work with on the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Select Committee, is a quality man that's got a very good track record and a proud record. What happened to him? What did you do to him? Gone.
Order. Order.
Then we
come back onto the debate.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Come back onto the debate.
Cunliffe and Little, that's right, a constant churn. But you're right, Mr Speaker. I'll come back to the bill. I want to speak about MFAT, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and I want to acknowledge all the staff and all our people that are deployed around the world working in New Zealand interests, and especially I want to comment and thank and acknowledge the MFAT staff that have been dealing with the recent tragedy and earthquake in Nepal. I spoke with a father who has a son, a 19-year-old son, over there at the moment, and he said that they've been nothing but fantastic. The communication has been very good. They've located him, they've reassured that he's okay, that he's safe, and that seems to be a constant theme in terms of what they're doing and how they're performing. I want to acknowledge them. I want to acknowledge Minister McCulley again and the team at MFAT and the likes of David Shearer that worked very hard and for a huge achievement for us in terms of credibility and presence on the world stage and being successful with achieving a seat on the United Nations Security Council. I want to acknowledge the people that work in the trade sector along with our Minister and the free trade agreements that have been very, very successfully negotiated over the term of this government. We are a small country, we're a small trading nation down the bottom of the world, and the future of our country relies heavily on how well we continue to trade with the rest of the world, and that's why these free trade agreements are so critically important to us. I do want to acknowledge Phil Goff and the Labor Party for the work that they did on the free trade agreement with China and the way that we picked that up when we came into government, and it's been very successful. It continues to be very successful for the GDP growth of our country. I want to just quickly refer back to something that the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance highlighted, and I think it's something really worth noting, and that is the fact that even though the milk powder price has dropped off, and unfortunately that's something that we can't control, our GDP is still very strong. It continues to grow, and what that would show is actually our economy is actually much better. There's a lot more diversity inside our economy than what we actually realised, and so I just wanted to acknowledge that point also. I just wanted to very quickly touch on the deployment to Iraq, because I know that that is all close to all of our hearts as our servicemen and women from the Defence Forces arrive in Iraq to start their Thank you, Mr Chair.
The Honourable Annie King.